I've been thinking about 90s cartoons a lot. And the weirdness of them.
And you're speaking very quietly.
Because it's a secret. No, I was watching I told you I finally watched all the Batman, that 2000s thing.
Yeah.
And it just had me thinking about like the 90s cartoon, and that kind of led. But I was thinking about, did you watch all of Batman Beyond?
Yeah.
Do you remember that episode where this guy, this like news reporter, like a paparazzi guy, gets this device that lets him like go through walls and stuff, so he figures out Terry and Bruce's secret identity?
It sounds familiar. I mean, yes, I did watch it all, but this was like
A long time ago.
a decade ago or so.
Well, I was just thinking about, because the fate of that gentleman is that Terry and Bruce figure out that this experimental device is very unstable, and then what ends up happening is it fucks with his DNA to where he can no longer control the phasing, and it ends with him just
falling infinitely through Earth.
Yeah. And I was like, and Bruce is just like, yeah, he's probably going to get to the center of the Earth and the pressure will kill him and burn him up. And you're like, that's kind of a fate worse than death, you know? Like, I was like, that's casual Saturday morning cartoon.
And Bruce is like, yep.
I was just like, and it just had me reeling through
parents. Oh.
Had me reeling through all these like weird, really weird. I'm like, oh man, that's why the 90s generation has like some.
Yeah, but Batman Beyond is like early 2000s.
Well, yeah, but even like, I mean, even the original Batman series had some shit in it. Just like, because even then, if you just think about Batman as a whole, too, a lot of his villains are just really serious mental illness.
Was it in the Justice League, or was it in Batman with the girl that could like create like?
It was Justice League.
That was Justice League, and she's like dying, and she's just.
And Batman just sits with her.
Yeah, because she's like, I just don't want to be alone.
Yeah, but again, that's 2000s though.
Yeah,
but yeah, you're like.
Well, then there's Spider-Man, who goes to like the home of like dying children, and he reveals his identity, and she's like, "Don't worry, I won't tell anybody," and he's like. Yeah, you're fucking not. You're going to be...
Someone I saw, speaking of Spider-Man, really wants that Shocker symbiote thing to happen in the new game. Remember when he's like chasing Shocker and he's just screaming at him?
Venom is?
Well, Peter Venom, not Brock.
Oh, in like the animated series?
Yeah.
Oh.
Shocker.
Vaguely.
And they really want that to just kind of throw like an Easter egg
If you want a really good rewatch, that animated series is actually really good.
Is it?
Yeah. It's a little kiddie, but like what's really cool is that each season has like a couple of different arcs. Spider-Man goes on a journey with almost every single like major Marvel hero. There's an entire arc with Iron Man and War Machine, an entire arc with Captain America, an entire arc with Fantastic Four, with Blade, with Morbius, with Daredevil, with Doctor Strange. Like,
well, even they get into the Spider-Verse thing too.
Yeah, that's the end of it actually. That's because after with the Venom arc. Then Carnage gets created, and then Carnage gets sent into a parallel universe where then Carnage then starts breaking the Spider-Verse, and that all the Spider-Men have to unite together to go destroy, to end Carnage. Carnage, pretty much. Yeah. Yeah, that's the end of it. Spoiler alert.
Thanks, man.
Maybe you don't have to watch it all anymore. Let's do this.
Hey, this is Tommy.
This is Jacob. This is Tommy and Jacob's mixtape. How's everybody doing?
Hello. Welcome back.
Middle of June. Middle of Upper Pride.
Pride.
We are family.
God, dude.
Yeah.
Makes me so angry. It's like I don't want to be like misuse it or overuse it, but it's like triggering. It just makes me immediately angry.
All right, we are continuing our queer movie for Pride Month block with "I Love You, Phillip Morris," which I kind of wouldn't. It seems to be just more of a movie that happens to have gay leads.
Yeah. But just for a quick synopsis, con artist meets the love of his life in prison.
Yes.
But yeah, that's really it's
based on a true story.
Yes,
which is fucking bonkers.
Well, yeah, I do want to get into that too, because it's like you're like, come on, Steve, like stop being, and you're like, oh wait, no, this is a real person based on someone's like, you know, so you get angry at the character, but you have to remember it's like he's just a dude.
Yeah.
He just made
And humans
make mistakes and can do stupid things.
Yeah, so
Silly things.
The movie came out in Sundance originally, January of 2009, and then had a really weird, like, delayed release distribution, and not until like really in theaters till December of 2010. And it wasn't really much of a box office thing. I counted for 2009 and 2010.
Yes, I did that once. We talked on the phone. So for 2009, I had 59.
I have 47.
And then for 2010, I had 51.
And I have 43.
And then...
Which also, like, I think 2010 went up from the last time I saw Wolfman by, like, 6 or something.
I wrote down I went up in 2009, and I went down in 2010.
Yeah, it's fluctuating. We need to actually, like, put these numbers together soon.
Oh, yeah, we do. Ugh, that's going to be a pain in the ass. But it was my idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, in 2010, box office, it was at 172, I saw, for in year.
Yeah. No foreign, which I thought was weird because it had, like... Well, its foreign release was interesting. You'd see the Italy controversy. Mm-hmm. So apparently, like, a big thing about this movie in promotion... and I didn't realize, I mean, it makes sense, but I never fully realized, I guess, that Italy has a problem with gay people. I mean, what the world, man, you know?
Well, that's even
when we live in a bubble where we don't really care, we kind of forget that other places kind of
Well, that was
sometimes.
Even like the thing, too, just it looks like a lot of its distribution problems was it was just too gay.
Yeah, well, but like, the thing is that, like, when they were, like, making promos for, like, so like in Italy specifically, like apparently Ewan McGregor was cut out of it 100% for promotion, like in the trailers, and they didn't promote him as being a gay guy. And so like as I was reading, it was like the gayness was edited around for promotional. So then like distributors felt like they were being lied to on what the movie was. Well, it's like, this is a gay movie. This is a gay man's movie. And it's like, it's a movie about they fall in love. Like, yeah, they're two men. Yeah. And they're gay. Whoop-de-doo. The story is about a con man. It's about a con. Yeah. It's about being conned.
Yeah. That was interesting.
But not a negative, like, gay man trying to con a straight man. You know?
Yeah. No, a con man.
I was like, wait a second. Hold on.
A con man that happens to be gay.
Yeah.
But yeah, like even watching it again, I was like, oh yeah, that is kind of, I mean, it's pretty vulgar, which is pretty,
well, we'll get all into that later. Let's actually, I mean, pretty easy to kind of get through the main list of stuff here.
Yeah.
I think just really quick, I just want to call out the guy who wrote the original book,
Steve McVicker,
who I could find I literally found it. I found damn near nothing about him.
But yeah, the book is I Love You, Phillip Morris, a true story of life, love, and prison breaks.
Yeah, and the only thing I could find from him is that he is a Houston-based journalist.
Oh.
I found his LinkedIn.
Okay.
Yeah. He's from Houston. And what I really think happened, because he wrote for like the Houston Chronicle till like 2007 or something, I think he sold the rights to this fucking movie, and he's just like, I'm done. Yeah, I'll retire.
Well, it's interesting, too, because if he's in Houston, so that means that during this, and a journalist, during this time, he could have been watching Steve's, like, career as a con artist.
That's pretty much, yeah.
And it was like, oh, this will be an interesting book.
Yeah, that's, a little bit that I did read from seeing, like, I don't know, something from, like, the book. He just was slowly, like, gathering up information. The book came out in 2003. I don't remember. Ooh, yeah, that felt weird on my nose.
Yeah, 2003. June 25th, 2003.
And then you have two men, Len Ficarra and John Requa, who have literally worked on everything together.
Yeah. The only thing I really, 100% knew I'd seen is Crazy Stupid Love.
You've seen Bad Santa.
Oh, and I forgot Bad Santa. Yeah.
You've seen Jungle Cruise.
Did I? Was that the Rock one?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Then I've seen Jungle Cruise.
And have you not seen Bad News Bears? The 2005 one with Billy Bob Thornton?
I've only seen the original one.
Yeah. So, I kind of have this separated in an interesting way because, they've worked on a bunch of stuff together. Some of it's only been writing. Some of it's only been directing. Some of it's been kind of both. So they did write Bad Santa and Bad News Bears together, and Jungle Cruise. The writers on that, and they also wrote like a handful of episodes of the Angry Beavers.
And I saw the Wild Thornberries on there too.
Yeah, one episode, which I can't remember the name of it, but it's the one where Donnie. It's a Donnie focused episode, if I remember correctly. And then like directed and wrote. I think wrote Crazy Stupid Love. They directed Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, which is Tina Fey. A real story about a journalist dealing with crazy shit in the Iraq War.
Oh,
like going over there. I mean, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot is WTF for, I forget what it's called for when you're using like full words for letters.
uh-huh.
So the movie is What the Fuck.
Oh, clever.
Yeah. And most recent for directing as a show with Kiefer Sutherland that came out this year called Rabbit Hole, where he's like, it's like an espionage type thing.
24 part 2.
Yeah, sure. Why not? I forgot to write down more about what it was, but yeah, I couldn't really find anything more like why they wanted to do this story or anything.
Well, isn't this their directorial debut too?
Maybe it was.
I think it was.
I just realized I don't have my bookmarks open.
Yeah.
Well, yes, it is.
Huh, interesting.
Yes.
What is it's something called Focus with
Yeah, what was that?
Margot Robbie and Will Smith.
Oh, yeah. That's another, like, it's like a spy thing, I think.
Yeah, comedy crime drama.
Yeah. But yeah, it's true. That's really just kind of all of that.
Yeah, that's all I had really to say about it.
And then I guess we can move into like who's starring in the movie. We kind of already brought them up, but this movie is led by Jim Carrey, 100%.
So yeah, Jim Carrey plays Steven. We talked about Jim Carrey in Charles Sanchez.
That's right. I was just about to ask what movie we did, and then as I was about to ask that,
it clicked.
I wonder if maybe like you know how your brain has like an actual delay but actually like getting information and like you know, so like sometimes when somebody said something and then you're kind of saying it at the exact same time, you might actually be like you've heard like right.
Ace Ventura, Mask, the Sonic franchise. I saw too.
Smoking. Sorry.
I also saw that. I never realized this, and I don't know if I brought it up last time, but it was only in 65 movies.
Jim Carrey?
Yeah. Or credited for 65 things for an actor.
Really?
Yeah, which I was like, that's kind of that, like, wow, you were really, really, really famous.
Well, but he's one of those things like, yeah, he blew up like overnight, pretty much.
Well, just in the 90s, just think about how many movies he had back then.
Yeah, but like, so then you look at like someone like fucking Samuel Jackson, who has like over 100 something credits, Yeah. Like 150 or, ridiculous. But he's done also a lot of voice.
Yeah. I wonder how that number 23 movie.
Have you never seen it?
I saw it when it came out. I haven't seen it recently.
I remember thinking it was kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, he just becomes obsessed with the number 23, right? Because he sees it and everything.
It's kind of a split personality movie, actually.
It kind of reminded me. I watched a trailer. It kind of reminded me of a Secret Window with Johnny
a little bit,
Depp.
a little
kind
bit,
of vibe, you know. This like kind of psychological thriller thing. Yeah. Anyways, and then Jim Carrey. He's Jim fucking Carrey. And then up next we had Ewan McGregor, who plays our Phillip.
Yeah. He's fucking wonderful in this too.
He's very sweet.
Yeah. Very naive and innocent. Yeah. Yeah.
Ewan McGregor plays Obi-Wan Kenobi, or I guess young Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Now just Obi-Wan Kenobi, really. He is in the Obi-Wan show as he is Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yeah. And then, Train Spotting.
Moulin Rouge. The Island.
There was this movie that he did in Scotland as well, where like three friends, like I think they kill somebody and they like bury a bunch of money underneath the house or something.
Didn't he also do that really rad motorcycle documentary?
He did do something like that.
Like he just traveled around the world like on a motorcycle.
Something like that. I never watched it.
I never watched it either, but I remember being like, that sounds cool.
They had to tell him to stop making lightsaber noises when he was in the lightsaber battles. Like, we can hear you doing that.
I wonder if you can like catch his mouth.
I know. I'm pretty sure they are like, Ewan, we got to do that again. And he's like, sorry.
Damn it. And then honorable mentions. I was gonna say Leslie Mann. He plays Debbie, who is Steven's wife turned ex-wife. Comes out of the closet.
I really liked how their relationship kind of like. There's like a part of this where, and we'll get to that, is like how much of like this is just like all like how fictional the relationship is. Like, because like when he's on the phone with her and he's like, yeah, I just want to let you know I'm
changing my
numbers.
Oh, you're on the lam again?
No, yeah, I'm just like so like casual.
Like this is what he does.
Yeah. I love you.
But Leslie Mann just watched The Other Woman, which is really great.
The Other Woman?
Yeah, it's fucking Lannister is the husband. I don't remember what his name is.
Jamie Lannister?
Yeah, I don't remember that actor's name. I'm blanking. But he plays the husband, and Leslie Mann is the wife, and then I think, is it Katherine Heigl? No, it's Cameron Diaz. Cameron Diaz is the mistress. And they all band together to like fuck up his life because he's like a cheating pig.
Is what's her name? Victoria's Secret's model.
Yeah, the model is like the other girlfriend.
Kate Upton.
I don't remember.
There's I
don't really know the modeling world well enough.
Well, no, I'm just trying because it's like Kate Middleton is married to Prince Harry, right?
And I also don't care about The Crown. Which is weird though.
For a podcast about popular stuff, Tommy.
We do movies.
I just almost called you Jacob. What the fuck? I'm in a weird headspace today.
Anyways, This Is 40, George of the Jungle, knocked up.
Yeah. Married to Judd Apatow. And
then I just did one more. Rodrigo Santoro.
Oh, who plays Jimmy?
Yeah, who plays Jimmy because we he's the 300, which I didn't fucking know forever.
I briefly looked at his thing and I couldn't. Nothing stood out to me.
Did we ever do Love Actually?
No.
I couldn't remember if we actually ever recorded that or not. And Lost in Westworld, but he's Xerxes in 300.
Oh, he's Xerxes.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Jesus. Yeah. I mean, and also, yeah. Oh, yeah. I guess we'll move it into.
Well, it's hard when the main cast is mainly just two people.
Yeah. Also,
one.
Yeah.
And then
it's really interesting, just like kind of like how like quiet and small this movie really like turned out and being and I think it makes sense also in retrospect. But yeah, I guess we can just start moving into reviews. This might actually be kind of just a shorter episode. I think it might really be.
All right, well, give us our scores and then...
Yeah, so on IMDb, we have a 6.6, and then on Rotten Tomatoes, at a 71 tomato meter and a 61 audience score.
All right. So out of the reviews that are 19 positive, 9 mixed, and 4 negative.
I'm really curious about the negatives, actually.
The 100 out of 100 from Steve Bersall at Tampa Bay Times. Think Catch Me If You Can mashed up with Brokeback Mountain if Mel Brooks directed it, and you'll get the idea.
Sure.
Sure.
Why not?
I was seeing if there's another...
Mel Brooks?
Oh, yeah, like another positive... what's this it? 90 out of 100, John Anderson at Variety. Less a comedy than a hilarious tragedy. I Love You, Phillip Morris stars Jim Carrey in his most complicated comedic role since The Cable Guy.
I think I saw that one on Wiki. Yeah, I like the hilarious tragedy.
Yeah, because it's because even I just rewatched Cable Guy.
That movie's so
it's so weird. But I made a note to say
that's Ben Stiller directing, you know?
Yeah. He's also in it too. He plays
he has a minor role. Yeah.
It says, look at Lisa Schwarzenbaum at Entertainment, 91 out of 100. I just made a note of that. Why? I don't remember why I did that. It's the beaming movie star intensity of the complicated comic Jim Carrey in the role of dominant lover and Obi-Wan Kenobi McGregor as the gentle beloved that makes this unfettered stranger than fiction picture pop.
That was long-winded.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, going on.
Was that one of the negatives?
That was another positive. But I put it on the positive, and then I just wrote down her name and I was like, I don't know why. I think there was I probably had a thought with it last night. I don't really. Then 60 out of 100 for the mix from George Morgenstern at the Wall Street Journal. I Love You, Philip Morris is tragedy or something close to it, decked out in comedy's clothes. So kind of what the last one was saying, which I just liked that one because it really is and that's kind of what was brought up in the beginning too, is that you sit there and you're just getting so annoyed with Steven being like, dude, just reel it in.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
Like, stop while you're ahead. And then you have to remember, oh, this is based off an actual con artist that it kind of becomes a high, you're getting away with it.
Yeah.
You're sticking it to them. And it's like,
it's also, and he also, like, he's very narcissistic, but we'll get more into that as well. Yeah.
And then we had our 4 negatives. The one I picked was the lowest one with a 20 out of 100. Joel Neumeyer at Daily News. I Love You, Philip Morris not only blasts gay stereotype back decades, it could actually make people wish for the third Ace Ventura movie. Both of those are an accomplishment, though neither is a compliment.
Whoa.
I just like, both are an accomplishment, neither are a compliment.
Oh man, blast back gay stereotypes and back decades. Gives us Ace Ventura 3.
Yeah, there's a lot.
It's like all our accomplishment and God damn it, dude. Holy shit. I don't think it blasts back gay stereotypes.
I mean, that's one of those things, though. It's like it really, I guess it comes down to a matter of opinion because, like, with something.
I mean, you do have 2 straight men playing.
There's that.
Which, I mean, I guess that with where we're at in the world, that's the elephant in the room right now.
Yeah.
I
mean, but that's the thing that's kind of like you were saying that, well, like, are you talking about this person, Joe? Are you talking about the fact that Steven is obsessed with stuff and clothes and watches and accessories and all this kind of stuff? And it's like, well, yeah, I mean, that also could have just been his personality.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to do with the fact that he's gay. It's like he likes shit.
Yeah.
There's plenty of straight guys that like really nice clothes and,
Well, and that kind of gets into, like, where the story arc of, like, his journey goes. I don't want to say hero's journey because there really isn't much of a hero's journey in this movie.
Oh, he's a completely gaslighting thief.
And it's like, it's very much, and it's kind of hard to, like, say, like, hero's journey when it's based on a real story.
But that's also, you got to be careful because, like, when we're talking about, even though it's based on a true story and we're talking about Steven, and Steven J. Russell just got
on parole.
He just got on parole.
But he's not released.
Yeah, his release date, but he got parole February 7th of this year. And it's like, you also have to really keep in mind that we're talking about Jim Carrey Steven. We're not talking about this Steven.
That's what, do you have any more reviews or are we ready?
I think that's good.
Okay, cool. Because, that's a really good segue into really what kind of comes down into the question for me is that we're seeing Jim Carrey, charismatic Jim Carrey, be Steve.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Steven.
Stephen
Russell.
Thank you, Stephen Russell. I didn't want to get confused with the guy who wrote the book, Stephen McVicker.
Yeah.
Stephen Russell.
Stephen Russell.
And he is so charismatic, and we like Jim Carrey that we feel like we should like Steve Russell, Mm-hmm. But he is a narcissistic, megalomaniacal, serial con artist.
Well, it's also, I'm really curious about, like, the real Steven's
and that's where, like,
reception of this.
Yeah. I would love that.
That'd be very interesting.
There was an interview I found somewhere, and then I lost it, of a real actual interview from Philip Morris.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
From the real Philip Morris.
Yeah.
Oh, mm-hmm. Okay. And do you have, like, do you have a remembrance of what the vibe was on that interview?
No.
Cool.
I'm actually just, as I was saying, I was like, man, I really should have read that.
And that kind of thing, just send to me too.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah. If you ever find,
I forget how it was. I think it was in an external link from Wikipedia, actually. Anywho, but what we get from this story, and we got it, like, even though it's based on real events, or it's it's
right here.
Oh, you found it?
Interview with Philip Morris.
Yeah. It's based on real events, but that doesn't mean that what we are seeing is a fictionalized, heightened story of what happened. Even like from Steve McVicker's writing of it, which is, I don't know if he writes it in as nonfiction. I don't know how. I've never read the book. I don't know if he's telling it and then Steve Russell went and did this, or if he's telling it as in a narrative sense of like Steve Russell, because we're seeing it from Steve Russell's point of view.
Yes.
And because he's narrating the film the entire time as well.
Yeah.
So in that sense, also unreliable narrator, probably not. But
oh yeah, but that's just I never.
But we have no like sense of like of that being true because we find his honesty in that. But okay, it's revealed as he comes out in the movie. He's like, "Oh, did I forget to tell you that I'm gay? Gay. Yeah. But it's the car accident that he gets into, which have been a lot. That's a very common thing. People get into a very tragic car accident like that, and it changes their life, you know. Yeah. And there's that moment with Jim Carrey performing this sense of, I'm gonna live my life the way I fucking want to now. I don't want to say it.
Don't say it. I mean, you can say it, but bleep it out. Don't say it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say it.
But yeah, that's what they're gonna call me.
Yeah,
you know, and he's had this like epiphany, you know, from this accident, like you were saying.
And yeah, he goes and he lives his big gay lifestyle. But
well, and the thing is like you find out he's gay from you find out he's gay right before the accident. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he's been living this secret, closeted life, and has been married to a woman, has a kid, and
and also like he's a good father. Like, but then also like that's another thing is like at the very beginning when I see him like tucking in his daughter, and he's like, "Got your nose, I'm being a good dad." It's like I feel like I'm watching Jim Carrey be charismatic. And I don't feel like I'm watching this. It's like, is this Steve Russell or is this Jim Carrey?
Well, that's what I was saying, though. You got to really separate the two because it's even us calling Steve, like basically in the sense of if Steve were to listen to this, it's like we're not talking about you. We're talking about this version of you that Jim Carrey played.
Exactly.
So calling Jim Carrey, Steve, a narcissist and whatever, it's like, not you, bro. Like, we're not talking about you.
No, but like even just like for everything that he did and how much like the story unfolds of like him lying to Phillip and and constantly escaping. Like it takes a special type of person to be a con man like this and not have any regard of like everybody's feelings around you.
Well, yeah, I mean, it successfully broke out of prison 4 times.
Yeah, right.
To the point where afterwards, solitary confinement for 23 hours a day with supervised hour for shower and exercise.
Yeah.
That's how like they were so sick of this dude beating the system and getting out.
For like over a decade.
Yeah. Like they were like, nah, we're done. Like we've given you plenty of chances. Like we're not doing it anymore.
It's like, fuck. It's really like, funny actually.
What was it? 99 years for the escapes and 45 years for the actual scams. So they took the escapes more seriously than the fraud. That was funny. Texas was like,
It's I mean, really, this movie is like the story of Stephen Russell and Philip Morris is lovely, and like it doesn't really, but it's like really what we're watching is. We're watching Stephen Russell, I guess, become a better human being because of his love for Philip Morris. But he's still doing his con man stuff, trying to escape to be with Philip Morris, which is, in a sense, romantic, but psychotic.
Misguided.
A misguided romance, yeah. Oh, like when he's like, did you pay to have the Screecher beat?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah. And then Philip Morris like, that is the most romantic thing anybody's ever done for me.
Well, it's also a good kind of like foreshadowing of what the relationship's going to be like.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
And the kind of like, I don't want to say like grooming, but almost kind of grooming feel to it. Like,
oh, yeah.
I don't know. But it's also just like...
It's more of like a, I'm going to take care of you. Like, I'm going to be your daddy type thing.
I'm really stuck on this Catch Me If You Can meets Brokeback Mountain thing. Because I'm just kind of like...
I mean, Catch Me If You Can, I see. Because...
But yeah, so is it the Brokeback Mountain thing because it's 2 straight actors playing 2 gay men?
Because it's gay?
Because it's gay?
Because it's gay.
I've actually never seen Brokeback Mountain.
It's really good. It's really, really good.
I've never seen it.
It's sad.
Yeah, that's why I've always avoided it. It just seems like it's really sad. And then also, it got harder to watch after Heath Ledger passed away.
Yeah.
It's like I have a hard time watching.
No, he's not the one that dies in it, though. So
I didn't know anyone died.
It's been out for so long.
I
knew that.
Well, now I know dies. Anyways, but yeah, no, I never watched it. But it feels like, well, who wrote that again?
Brokeback Mountain?
No, Steve Persall. No, the Brokeback Mountain.
thing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess also so you've seen it. Do you see the connection they're making, or is it really just because it's two gay guys? And
I mean, it is like the big thing in Brokeback Mountain is the secret lives that they're living,
which I guess he kind of does in the beginning.
Because because the
Catch Me If You Can thing makes sense. Because
the Catch Me If You Can thing makes perfect sense. Brokeback Mountain. So you have Heath Ledger's they do fall in love, but the way that they fall in love is in a very unique way. For like one of them is more like actually just like closeted, and the other one it was kind of more like it would only be with you, like.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. All right. Anyways.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to it's literally them just saying because as soon as you say Brokeback Mountain, people go gay cowboys.
Yeah.
And that's,
it feels like that comparison just feels like a really oversimplification of trying to explain what this movie is like.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go think like Catch Me If You Can, but
What's really funny is because I remember kind of seeing that review, and I was halfway through this movie, I was like, I could compare this to Catch Me If You Can in a sense, with the con man and the
secret life,
the constant running from the law, all that stuff. But my next thought wasn't it was that was it. It was just I can see the similarities with that,
because it's like we were said in the beginning, it's a con movie.
Yeah.
But even then, it's
but it does become interesting. I shouldn't say become interesting. I think there is just it's more interesting when you discover that he falls in love with this man in prison, and a lot of his choices are because of his love for this man. It could have been a woman, it could have been anyone. It's because he's in love with this person, and it just so happens that's what the story is going to be.
Yeah.
But in a society, in a culture where
well, especially at this time,
homosexuality is viewed more taboo. It's not.
Well, because he hides Phillip from his banker buddy job. Buddy.
Yes. Well, also you got the story's unfolding in the 90s.
Well, it's
in the late 80s, early 90s, I want to say.
Yeah, I think he finally got arrested in 98.
Yeah.
Yeah, April 98, where he got 99 years and 45 years for scams.
Mm-hmm.
But that's also kind of an interesting. I just thought of that too. It's kind of an interesting. Well, he goes to the party and whatever, and he kind of breaks his own rule because he says he's going to live the life that he wants.
Mm-hmm.
Then he lives in Florida for a minute with Jimmy.
Yes.
And they are very out and very much a couple and everything.
And that's when also I really like when he's what people don't tell you is that being gay is very expensive.
And maybe that's the whole.
It doesn't have to be, but that's
I think that also might be the jumping back stereotype thing.
Yeah, but that's the lifestyle that he wanted to live.
Yeah, he wanted to live
a life of luxury.
Yeah, and be very flamboyant and colorful and peacock.
And this is when he's learning how to be he's
outwardly gay,
and also he's also embracing this con man side of him as well, because he's talking about how he doesn't care if he's selling bad tomatoes, he's doing this, he's doing that, he's unabashedly taking advantage of people, and this is still his awakening of embracing himself as a gay man. He's embracing this con man side of him, and that's kind of the interesting journey that we see with Steven Russell. Is his embracement of being a con man felon.
Well, and I think also really looking at it too, going into this, and I would be interesting to go into this and if you're listening, go into it with the whole tragedy comedy thing, because even then I was just thinking about that scene when he goes and talks to his birth mom.
Oh yeah,
and it's really sad, but it's funny. Like the context of
I was the middle child. What was wrong with me?
Because it's the way Jim Carrey is delivering it. I'm gonna take this math. It's a lie.
I'm leaving now.
And it's like, it's such a sad thing because even when he says I was the middle child.
Yeah, you're like, what?
Who Vance is the middle child?
It's like, was that real? Like, that makes me wonder, is that an actual fact, or is that Jim Carrey doing a funny, weird improv?
But it's like, but it's such a sad moment.
So sad.
But it's fun. You find yourself kind of chuckling, and then you have to think about it. You're like, oh no, this man is
having a mental breakdown
because his mother abandoned him when he was a baby, and there's a lot of moments like that, and it's kind of interesting to think. Yeah, it's a tragedy. It's a tragedy comedy.
Well, that moment when you think that he's died from AIDS, and that whole long con of that, which is fucking
that's pretty fucking psycho.
And impressive.
Yeah, that's pretty, that's like some master villain.
Yeah, dude.
Mastermind shit right there.
And him and Philip Morris are in the, when he's the lawyer, and they see each other, and just like that, he's finally, even though he conned and lied to get his way into this room with Philip Morris, you finally see him just shed, you see that the vulnerability, and there's no lies or facade or anything. He's just honestly there in front of Philip Morris, and when he's like, I don't know if I can trust you, or what, I can't.
Yeah,
it's something and Steve Russell's like, I know you can't.
Or even how could he says something like I don't know who you are. I'm pretty sure you don't know who you are. How am I to love someone that doesn't exist?
Yeah,
you're like,
yeah, and they're fucking just they're. It's some amazing. If anything from this movie, you get to see one of Jim Carrey's best performances. When it comes to just him being being his comedic self, but being so connected to another human being in a really romantically tragic way, and his range of just him being the different voices, the different people that he's pretending to be to get himself, he's doing all of the he's getting a new job, he's the one that's getting the calls for the recommendations,
and he's
a different person every single time. I'm gonna be the judge now.
It also is kind of like with Birdcage, is that Robin Williams and Val, their sweet moments seemed really legitimate even with them too, with Ewan McGregor and Jim Carrey. They had that kind of vibe. But I was also just reading too, I don't think it doesn't mention that the pretending to have AIDS thing is what he did. It sounds like that was added.
Oh, really?
Because it says right here in '98 when he was captured, he was feigned a heart attack, and then he was at the hospital under supervision, and then he called pretending to be an FBI agent and had himself released. Which are also kind of like, man, you make this seem really easy. I can just call and be like.
Well, what's funny is it's because of people like him that there's probably more protocols put into place. Because you got to think about
what's his Dillinger from the bank robber Dillinger. He spurred a lot of shit to
even
change.
just the guy that not the character, but who Catch Me If You Can is based off.
Frank.
Frank
Abagnale Jr.
Yeah. It's
man, I pulled that out of my ass.
They ended up hiring him into the FBI to teach them how to counterfeit.
He's really good. Let's get him on our team,
right? But so it's we live in especially during this time in a society where we have this idea of these people are the law and they know better, But so then you have one person be like, well, I'm just going to try it and see what the fuck happens.
Yeah.
And then he's like, yeah, no, I'm FBI agent McNail Pin or something, and I'm so here to pick up Stephen Russell. Oh, yeah? Yeah, badge number, blah, 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 blah. They're like, okay, nobody's checking shit because he's like, who's going to fucking lie about this?
Well, that's literally what you're saying. It's the first time that Tom Hanks and Leo meet, and he pretends that the old guy that his friend is taking to the car, his friend is the partner. That's the guy you're looking for. Here's my wallet. Can you get the gun out of my face? And he just believes it in that moment. And so then Tom Hanks is like, oh yeah, okay, you can go. He's like, yeah, you'll be right back. Okay. It's like you're looking for a con artist. You're like, come on, guys. But it would be really interesting. I kind of really want to check out the book now too, because it's Or even just, it would love, maybe it will happen once he with Steven gets released.
I do want to say I haven't found any of it yet, but I did when I was doing a little bit of research. There has been like an ongoing like growth of like random like little documentaries and stuff, like an episode on like convicts that escaped, you know, on like some A&E or fucking whatever like TV show. You know, it's probably one of those like History Channel ones where like you only get like 15 minutes of information out of a 35-minute show because they spend like 5 minutes recapping what happened before the commercials.
Wait. Esquire magazine interviewed both Russell and Morris for its feature The Great Escape, while The Guardian published a look at Phillip Morris, a con man story.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's what I saw.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, there's a lot of...
It's a very interesting story. I mean, yeah.
I mean...
But they, like...
I mean, still one of my favorite moments is that it's like, again, it's funny, but it's so dark. It's like after Phillip pays the convict next door to play that song for them to dance to.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, you have to play the whole thing. He's like, motherfucker, my word's my motherfucking bond. And then the guards, and they're dancing sweetly and everything. Yeah. And then the guards are like, you can hear them talking to
my word is my motherfucking bond.
But they like go in there, like, turn that shit off. And he's like, no, fuck you, pig. Fuck you, motherfucker. Yeah. And then they like, you just hear them beating the shit out of him.
And he's just repeating,
motherfucker.
My word is my motherfucking bond.
Motherfucker, you goddamn pig. And you're just kind of like, you laugh. But then when you think about the context, you're like, this dude is getting the shit kicked out of him.
My face to the entire one was this. I was like,
oh. Davon.
I should not be laughing.
Yeah, what was his? Davon, was that his name? But yeah, it's just like, it's surreal.
It's
such a strange movie. I see a wiener, you know, it's really.
So, I mean, so honestly, I mean, yes, this does kind of go into like into queer film and whatnot, but I don't really see this as like it's not the same as like The Birdcage or even But I'm a Cheerleader, in the sense of like, I feel like this is kind of now moving towards that sense of like, it just happens to be a gay love couple. Story. Yeah. You know,
because it's
not about discovering queerness or a life of queerness in a big way. It's about a life of a con man.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of weird because it's like it is a con man movie, and the gay thing is so not important, yet it is important at the same time because
it's important because of the love.
Yeah, but yeah, it's like it really is. It's really just but it's like so funny too, because even, you know, the second that they move into their new house and you find out that the bank con that he was doing got him $800,000, and basically for like
him discovering that too was so cool.
It was the Office Space kind of thing.
Like
kind of their con that they were doing, whereas this money was sitting there and then it would invest because it was sitting there for so amount of time, and then he just made a secret little bank account that would click and just grab the investment, you know. And it's like such a good idea, but it's like you need to then pretend like you don't have that money.
Exactly.
And then as soon as he shows up in that stupid red car, I was like, oh, this is how he gets caught.
Because exactly.
This guy is on the same level as you. He knows how much money that you should be making. And then even then he was kind of cocky about it. He didn't play it off like, oh, I've been saving up for a while. Yeah. And I just really wanted to treat myself to like a nice new car.
No, he's like, yeah, that's a nice car. Great value.
Yeah. Like, and he's a dick about it, you know?
But you see, that also is like, again, where I'm saying is like, as like this like con artist, this narcissistic point of view is like he can't help but, you know, try to live this life of like luxury, because that's, you know, it has to always be bigger and better, bigger and better, bigger and better.
Well, and it's like, it also seems like psychologically he feels cheated because he was abandoned and he was adopted and everything.
Ooh,
that's what the kind of vibe I got.
There's some meat right there.
Yeah, like I feel like he feels like I deserve this because of what happened to me. Which, you know, like, because even then it's the tragedy thing too. Steven, we have something to tell. You're adopted.
Yeah, the kid.
And you're like,
little fucking brat.
That's dramatic. I did like us talking shit about that Batman kid. By the way, on Instagram. That's what made me think of, I was like, punk ass narc. Remember I was seeing the video and he's like, it's too violent. They use things against us in the Batman movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Punk ass narc. Just talking shit about this 8-year-old from 89. But
I think we could wrap this up.
yeah, I mean, I did honestly like Jim Carrey was really great in this, but he really terrified me.
Like in what way? What do you mean?
I found him creepy.
Oh, fake.
Yeah, and then that's what was supposed to be happening, so it worked. But
oh, really? I do love.
like, what was your favorite scene? I kind of want to start doing that.
Kind of just that. When he's going in, is this when he?
I want to start doing this towards the end, being like, what like resonated with you like the most that you liked?
He was getting ready to be Phillip's lawyer, and when he goes in to use the urinal, and the juror is
old. This is the guy with the red car. Yeah.
Or the guy with the great value car.
Yeah.
And just that look of them looking at each other, I was just like, you boned.
Mine was definitely him telling that joke to the lady.
Oh, and then watching it
turn into, and then it turns into like this incredibly racist, anti-Semitic and like racist joke, and he just like, and it's like fun. It's just like a game of telephone, you know? But then he just like stops. He's like, "Fucking moron!" I liked that. I just thought that was a very clever
thing. What I really one of the things is just like the way that they kind of like show and represent how smart Stephen Russell is in this, when like he starts to pick up on that his coworkers are like knowing that he's embezzling money.
Yeah.
And how he just kind of like, he takes the pencil and just like sees that number.
Looks at them.
And then he
calls his
he
account.
registers like, that number looks very familiar to me.
Yeah.
And that's the money in his account. And he's like, I'm boned. I'm boned.
Gotta get the hell out of here.
Get the hell out of here.
Well, it's also just
and also like when he's like driving to go get to Philip Morris, and then Philip's like, I can't believe you would do this to me. But even before that, when he's talking to Deb.
Yeah, like we mentioned.
Yeah. But even so, like then like his like boss or whatever calls him, he's like, hey, just wondering if you were gonna be coming to the office anytime soon.
Yeah, I think we all know when I'll come back, Dan.
And I think
we know why.
Yeah.
Bye, Dan. Well, it's also just like, it's just his own hubris, and that's what makes this movie like kind of hard to watch, because you're like, you could have gotten away with it probably for a lot longer.
If it weren't for all those damn wrestling kids.
But it's like, it's that old,
and that stupid dog too.
It's that old quote: "What's done in the dark will be brought to the light," kind of thing. But like sooner or later, especially with embezzling money.
Yeah. But then I just burned it down. That's my stick.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean,
that's my stick.
Hey, fuck it. Move up to arson. Like, who gives a shit?
No, I love that's how they get away with it in the Office Spaces.
Accidental arson.
Because Melvin fucking, not accidental.
No, I know, but for them. Like, they didn't have anything to do with it. Okay, that's the last straw. That'd be a fun one to review. That was one thing I did want to say. Oh, it's always like heartbreaking in these kind of things too. Because it's the same thing with Catch Me If You Can, is with these like con movies, is like,
there is really no happy ending.
There's never a happy ending, and even then, it's like one of the accounts was opened up under Dr. Phillip Morris.
Yeah.
And it's like, you want to screw yourself over, but give them plausible deniability.
Yeah.
And the same thing with Catch Me If You Can, in the sense, not in the like opening the account thing, but that poor woman that he ends up marrying.
Yeah.
And puts in this situation.
Like sending her all that money, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's just, they never just have a happy ending. I mean, even with this, like, the movie ends with another prison break, and he's like frolicking, being chased by guards, and he's laughing, and it's like his last attempt to get to Phillip. But then when you realize the actual story is, I mean, granted, he got up for parole, but he had a 150-year prison sentence.
I like it was also
solitary confinement.
Due to the state of Texas and the embarrassment of George Bush Sr., they decided
they threw the book at him.
Yeah.
But that's, I mean, I know it's like, again, I know it's the tragedy of it. It's like weird to laugh about, but it's like the fact that they gave him 99 years for the escapes and 45 years. They didn't give a shit about the money. They were like, because it's Texas. Remember Longest Yard? What do they take seriously in Texas? Football and prison.
Yeah.
And you like really made a joke out of the prison system.
You're embarrassing them.
Yeah.
You made an embarrassment out of this goddamn system.
Yeah. And it's like such a system there, And And also, yeah, I just like horrifying 23-hour solitary confinement. I can't even imagine that. Like, it causes so many issues. That's a whole nother. We could have an entire podcast about that.
Yeah.
But
Old Boy, or we can just watch Old Boy.
It would be really interesting if Steven comes out, if this like were to make like to find an interview with. I want to read the Philip Morris one. I'm just curious. Mm-hmm. But also, I would just really like an honest reaction to
the book and the movie.
Well, I'm
the
sure.
movie.
I mean, Steven had plenty of time. I'm sure you probably read the book.
Yeah,
I would, wouldn't you? If you're like, "Oh, I'm in prison. What do they write about me?"
He probably has like a little TV as well. You know, and watch stuff.
Oh yeah, I don't really know. I mean, but yeah,
solitary confinement just means he's not allowed to communicate with anybody.
Yeah,
yeah.
But do they give you like? I guess you can get stuff for good behavior and stuff, right?
Yeah, if you're just sitting in there.
But like, how can you do bad behavior?
Break out again?
Yeah,
just stare at a guard in the eyes and just jerk off.
This I will. This movie is like pretty vulgar. It's pretty funny.
Yeah,
there's some scenes.
Yeah, I can definitely see why like rated R for.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's
pretty sexual.
Yeah,
it's pretty sexual.
Well, more at the beginning. I think once it starts getting then there's like the you can either give him some money or suck his dick.
Your choice.
Your choice.
Yeah, that I didn't like. That didn't sit well with me.
It was a little kind of over the head of like. This is what prison's like. You pay for it or you can be gay.
No, towards the end of it, he was like, "Do I have to suck your dick?" And he's like, "That'd be great."
No.
And I was like, what? All right.
He's like, no, it was I guess I'm going to suck your dick now? That'd be great.
It just felt predatory.
Yeah, very much so.
No,
yeah.
It's like, it's not the sucking dick thing. It's the predatory aspect.
No, it's sexual predator.
Yeah, I was like, I don't like that. That made me uncomfortable.
All right, what do you give it? How many bananas?
I don't know. I think it's pretty damn good. So I'd say like a 3.5.
Really?
Yeah.
I think it's. I mean, yeah. It's Jim Carrey's performance is great. The story is just. I'd give it like a 3.
Well, it's like also, it kind of is it's that thing that I like in my film a lot of the isolated kind of small little pocket and like I was saying about action movies.
Yeah.
This is kind of the same thing. It's just this one dude in Texas and blah blah blah, and it's like as opposed to like Catch Me If You Can, where he like went around the world and they caught him in France, and it's like there's this one little, and I really enjoy that kind of like,
and it's all about love. Well, by the end of it, it's all about him.
Yeah. It all becomes like and that's even like
it's
Phillip saying like all I want is you. He finally understands that's all he wants too.
So yeah, what is it? My first note was like love is the theme, not queerness.
Yeah. He goes like love con queer.
Yeah.
Kind of like, or maybe con
love
queer. Yeah.
And even queer, I don't know. It just happens. Queerness just happens.
So what do we got? 3 then?
3.25.
Sure. 3.2. I don't have a drawing of a 0.25.
I know.
But yeah. Were we going to discuss changing next week?
You know what? I think because in a strangeness of how this movie came out, since this isn't it. It just happens to be about gay men. It's kind of like an interesting transition of like how in the 90s and early 2000s where it was like more like here's a queer movie, oh no type thing. Not oh no, but you know what I mean. Oh no. God damn it. It's just like, well, now it's just like, and this is a story where just there happens to be gay people in it, and like, and it's now just going into like, and it's like, well, yeah, there's just gay people, so why wouldn't there be a gay character? And what's really nice is that it's a lead character and not like a sidekick best friend.
Mm-hmm. All right, so commit to it. I don't remember what it's called.
Booksmart.
Okay.
As I chew off my finger.
That was gross. But yeah, so I guess we're going to be doing Booksmart. So join us for that. And
it's all, I mean, 2 female led. It's female led, which we don't really do. We haven't really done very often as well. So, which is really great.
Yeah. But yeah. So join us next week. Like, subscribe, tell your friends. Enjoy your pride. Be safe. Drink responsibly.
Gay. I like this new phrase. Stay gay.
Stay gay.
Stay gay.
But yeah, all that kind of stuff. I guess this is Tommy.
This is Jacob.
This is
Tommy Jacob's Mixtape.